It's showtime, folks. Welcome in, Chase and Big Joe, 1025, 1063, the game on this Tuesday. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your day. He's Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. Ian Safar hanging out as well. JoJo, what's going on?
We got sunshine today, man.
On a cloudy day?
I've missed it for a little while, but now we got sunshine, so it's going to be an absolutely beautiful
You've confused
day.
Dr. Crane. Like the look on Dr. Crane's face right now he is so confused.
Well, the gain is normally like 3.5 for him, and it's set at like 12, and it doesn't
Good.
make sense. Like, it's a mind brain for me. Don't worry about it.
A what?
Like a brain mess up. I don't know.
A mind brain? That's new.
I was gonna say something else, but it's not appropriate.
G-rated. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes. I think it sounds good. I think I sound powerful today.
Here's the thing. If you move that at all, it'll shoot through the roof probably. So there you go.
Thank you.
Just inside baseball here on this Tuesday. So we got a great show planned. Hal Gill going to join us at 9:30. We'll get his thoughts on the draft lottery. I know the sky is falling according to Preds fans. Got to grin and bear it and take it one day at a time. But we'll be okay. It'll be fine. The sun will come up tomorrow.
Well, I think it's even worse because you're watching all these other teams in the playoffs right now, and these crowds going crazy, and these cities enjoying it, and that should be us, and it's not us. So, I live for playoff hockey in May. The regular season, I'll watch 2%, but during the playoffs, man, I'm all about that, and so it kind of hurts right now.
Yeah, no, I get it. 100%. So the Preds will pick 5th in the NHL draft. They lost the draft lottery, I guess is what you could say. You're just gonna let the music play the whole time?
I didn't know what that was. Like, what is going on?
I was like, my computer's
Do we need to
again.
reset? Do we just need to kind of start all over?
I thought for sure it was my computer, man.
I'm like,
I wanted to look at Joe. I was like, Joe, is there someone over there?
It's got to be me. I mean,
no, it's always Joe's fault. That is for sure. But anyway, and also Barry Trotz addressed the media yesterday. Andrew Brunette will return as the head coach. And, I was there. I went to it. And I have a ton of respect for Barry Trotz, as everybody knows. I don't hide that. And I think Andrew Brunette, one of the things that Trotz kept saying is Andrew Brunette is a good young coach. I don't think that's a false statement by any means. But it was clear that something didn't work. I mean, the players even said something didn't work. And usually when everybody's saying something didn't work, a big change happens. Well, that's not the case here. And I give Barry Trotz a little bit of leeway because of the respect and what he's earned as a coach and what he's earned in this organization. He gets a little bit of a runway with me. So I'm going to trust that he knows what he's doing. And I'm going to trust that Andrew Brunette, being a good young coach, that he's good enough to overcome what last year was. And, I mean, he's taken a team to the playoffs. He's been a 2-time Jack Adams finalist.
God, I thought you were going to say something else.
What do you think I was going to say?
Jack blank.
Oh, no.
No, expound on that.
I mean, he has been up for Coach of the Year twice.
Correct.
And so it's not that he doesn't know what he's doing. And look, I love you guys. A lot of you. I mean, it's just the way of the world. I used to be that way, I guess. Maybe I'm still that way sometimes. One little thing goes wrong, and it's like, fire everybody. They don't know what they're doing. They're the dumbest people on the face of the earth. Like, what are we doing? So, I mean, and I get it. You're a fan. Fan is short for fanatic. Like, I understand. But, and I also understand that you're tired of mediocrity in this town, not just with the Preds, not just with the Titans, not just as a sports fan in Nashville. You're tired of mediocrity. I'm tired of it too. I get it. But I am willing to kind of give a little bit of a runway to this. Like, hey, you have forgotten more about hockey than I will ever know when talking about Barry Trotz. But I will say yesterday, I felt that, I didn't believe it. Like, I heard what he was saying, but I just walked away going, okay, all right. I hope you know what you're doing, Trotzy. Like, that's literally how I felt after that press conference. And, I think that he needed to be like, he should have opened it with Andrew Brunette is our head coach, period. Like that should have been the first words out of his mouth, in my opinion.
What did he talk about first?
He just went through the whole season and just kind of recapped where things went wrong, and then finally got to, it's easy to, make the quick fix, which is firing the coach, and I'm not going to do that. And Andrew Burnett's a good young coach, and he's going to be back. That's what everybody wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Everybody was there to hear the fate of the coach. And look, I don't have to understand or completely agree with the decision, but I will respect the decision because of who Barry Trotz is and what Barry Trotz has earned in this organization. I'll trust him that he knows what he's doing. He's won a Stanley Cup as a head coach. I know he's the GM now. And I even asked him about getting involved in coaching, and he gave a pretty good answer. You'll hear that a little bit later. But he is somebody that can help Andrew Burnett grow as a coach. It's just, can it be done with this team, with these personalities? They have a talented but a big personality in Jonathan Marchessault, who's not going to hold back how he feels, and I like that about him. It's a good player. Steven Stamkos, veteran player, did it under one system pretty much for the whole time. Can they adjust this system? Can Brunette adjust the system enough to be competitive? I don't know the answer to that right now. And that's a scary place to be, especially knowing that you're going to have a top 5 pick. And you all act like it's the end of the world that it's the 5th pick in a, once again, it's kind of like the NFL draft. It's not a super strong draft. They're going to get a good player. But then can they develop that player? That's going to be the question. So I think there are more questions than answers right now, but we're just going to have to kind of sit back and go on the ride.
Do they go heavy July 1st in free agency?
I don't know. I think it depends on what happens at the draft. And the reason I say that is they have 3 first-round picks. They have 5th, and then they basically have like late 20s and like a third, like the end of the first round, but that's still currency. So, hypothetically speaking, they could use those to go acquire a established player that can make this team better. They got to address defense. They got to go get, I think, a top pair defenseman to go with Yossi. They don't really have that right now. They got to continue to try and find a top tier center, which I don't think they're, unless they swing a big trade, I don't think they're going to be able to do that, this year. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be as active as they were last year. But they got the cap space. I mean, they got the room. They could do it if they wanted to. But I think one of the takeaways I had yesterday is he wants to see the young guys improve and give the young players an opportunity.
Fair. Well,
which I don't think is wrong.
No,
I don't think that's wrong at all.
You got to mix them with the old and see how it works, man. I tell you, man, it's probably kept this guy up, Barry Trotz up every night for the last 6 months. Like, what the hell happened? How did this go so wrong? But it's over now. Now you look forward to the future. That's all you can do.
Yeah. So that was the big news of the day yesterday. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. If you want to weigh in on that, how do you feel about Trotz's comments? I haven't even looked at the text line yet. It's sitting here open.
I saw a thing, when Burnett was going to be coach for Team Canada, people were losing their mind. Like, how can he? And I realized there's a lot of coaches that are still in the playoffs, right? I mean, a lot of NHL, teams in the playoffs. So getting, part of that team.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of good coaches that are without a job right now.
Yeah,
so they're focused on
maybe something they want to do it. So good for him. It puts a spotlight on the Preds, and so it's a little promotion for them, good publicity. So fine for that. But man, people lost their mind when Brunette got announced for assistant coach for Team Canada. It's like, good Lord.
I know. Well, it's just people aren't going to support him right now. I mean, it's unfortunate. Yeah, right. And that's really the one that matters. I mean, look, I support him too. I mean, I like Andrew Brunette. I agree with everything Barry Trotz has said, that he is a good young coach. Did I make the case for a change because you got so many long-term contracts and players that are under contract? Yeah, I did. But that doesn't mean that now that the decision's been made, I'm not going to support that. I mean, I just like I said, Barry Trotz gets some runway with me until it's just
Till
not
when?
there anymore.
To win.
I think if by Thanksgiving, if this thing isn't looking any better, then that's where I'm going to start questioning a lot of things more and be like, what are you doing? Like, your loyalty is now going to potentially cost you.
What's the third of the season next year?
Yeah, pretty much. But you were on board of bring him back.
Yeah.
And give him another chance.
Absolutely.
And look, we've seen hockey is one of the sports where it can turn around pretty quickly.
Mhm.
You make a couple of moves here and there, and it can bounce right back. And I do feel like this team has the talent that it can do that. I mean, a lot of the fan base is doom and gloom and fire trots and sell the team and Haslam needs to clean house and all that stuff. And it's like that's fine. But I want to hear from you if by Thanksgiving, they're sitting third in the West and looking pretty good.
It's going to be the most crucial year for this franchise.
100%.
You got Saros, who was terrible, and I think that contract was awful. He's got to get better. If he doesn't get better, you're done. And then you got to find a way to mix the old and the young. I mean, this is going to be interesting to see how this play works out. If it works out fine, man, it's great. You're making a nice run, which I thought they would do this year, but what do I know? But it's a case study. I'm telling you, man, it's a case study in bringing in high-profile vets to a franchise with a lot of young guys and working that thing out. And it's going to be, if I'm doing that, I'm like, well, I'm going to sign these high-price free agents and bring them in. Look what happened in Nashville, man. It didn't work out. And I think it'll be something people look at for a long time.
615-737-1025. A lot of you want to react on our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We will take some of that next. Hal Gill going to join us at the bottom of the hour here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
through this process, have you found that maybe you need to be a little more involved when it comes to coaching and helping Andrew through this process, or is there a balance where you want to stay out of his way and let him figure it out at the same time?
I think there's a balance. My job is to manage a team, not coach a team. I hire Andrew to coach the team, but I think leaning on me, I've always said to him, you can always lean on me, and I try to give him the confidence to make any decision that he needed to make, because it's very difficult when you get coached from above, because then you don't have the confidence. I would say if everybody's sitting in this room, if I said your boss is telling you what to write and how to do it, and that would take your confidence away. And that's not what you're hired to do. You're hired to have your own opinions and your own thoughts and all that. So it's very important that there's a balance. I can't go too far, but I can help. I do have know a little bit about that part of it. And I think we'll be on a continual talk through the summer and into the winter. But I always believe that the coach has to be himself. He has to be. That's why I hired him. Hired good people, let them do their job, and that's what I did. I hired Andrew, and he'll do a good job.
That was Barry Trotz, Predators general manager, yesterday at his end-of-year press conference. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel. We're in the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. And I asked him that question because, when you have a general manager that has been a head coach for over 20 years, has won a Stanley Cup, I mean, that's obviously a resource that, if I'm in Andrew Brunette's shoes, that I want to use. And I guess I was trying to find, a little bit more insight into how much that is used.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Barry has been very careful with that. I think he's been very good about not, as he said, not coaching from above and not, sitting there trying to tell him what to do, which is good. But at the same time, how much is Andrew using that resource of, hey, like, I got a player that's a little more outspoken and, he's like, how do you deal with that? I mean, you coached Ovechkin. That's a high profile guy. Like, what's and so how much of those conversations are happening? It sounds like, according to Barry Trotz, that they are happening. But that's where I think some of that insight can come in. And look, Andrew Brunette saw it as a player. I mean, he had teammates that probably were a little diva-ish at times. And,
Sure.
How do you deal with it? Because, when you hear somebody say, oh, he's kind of a diva, like, I don't want to throw those guys out, because actually I think, they're a good part of your team. It's just, how do you manage them? How do you coach them? How do you kind of play to their ego a little bit, but also get the most out of them and get them to play team first? You can do it. Barry Trotz is prime example. The story's been told that Alex Ovechkin missed a meeting, so he got scratched. And everybody was like, what are you doing? That's the best player. How do you scratch him? Well, nobody's above the team.
True.
And he got buy-in. Barry Trotz spent all day yesterday talking about buy-in. That was one way he got Alex to buy in.
So what's it? The Jimmy Johnson thing, there are rules and there are exceptions.
Yeah.
Like if Chase McCabe falls asleep in a team meeting, you're in trouble. Troy Aikman falls asleep in a team meeting, he's not in trouble.
Troy, wake up.
Right.
Exactly.
Chase, get your bags. You're done.
Right.
Hit the road. No, I get it. Look, every coach is unique. Let him do his thing. And also, if you're constantly going to your boss, you're a boss. If somebody keeps coming to you over and over, you're like, man, can you not just do the job?
I tell you that every day.
Right.
Like, get out of my office. What do you want?
You tried blocking my number, which didn't work.
No, you just got another one.
I mean, there's a pride thing. Brunette doesn't want to go there every time. Now, if there's a thing, I'm sure they have like weekly meetings, probably talk maybe daily, and to say, hey, what's going on here? What'd you do with this? I mean, you have to use that resource, but at the end of the day, you got to make your own decisions.
Let's go to some texts here. Steve says, fire the scouts. We haven't had a good draft in 10 years. I think they've made quite a few changes with the scouting staff.
All those that won. Kelty, is that a guy?
He's the assistant GM. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shows you
One
what
of
I know.
them.
All right.
Rebecca says, Chase, Bruno had all year to fix it, and he didn't. That is the issue here. So I will tell you, based on conversations I've had, was that he changed a lot with the system as the year went on. Now, how much of that can be effective as you go throughout the year, I don't know. But I do know that he made some changes based on the players and the play and the feedback. And you're right, it didn't work. But I guess in Barry Trott's eyes, and look, I'm with you. Like I probably, especially with the coaching pool that was out there, I would have definitely had some conversations and looked around on a change. But Barry ultimately is like, hey, I think he's capable of making even bigger changes in the offseason and, talking with these players, and I'm willing to give him another chance. That's basically what it all boils down to.
How long was the press conference yesterday?
An hour and 5 minutes.
You're kidding, right?
No, I'm not. The opening statement was 30 minutes.
Oh, that's fantastic. I thought you were kidding.
Nope.
Oh, my goodness.
In fact, this text will make you laugh. Chip from Mount Juliet, Trotz talks like Butch Jones, needs wins, plain and simple.
Oh, that's not good at all.
5745. Trotz not listening to his players is a major issue. This thing could continue to get a lot worse than we could all imagine. You have players outwardly talking poorly about the coach, but the brass of this organization continues to think gold shines out of their bleep and won't make any changes.
That's a good point. I can't believe it took that long. My goodness.
Yeah. On the draft pick, Kyle asked, do you think there's a possibility of us trading up? Considering we're never this high in the draft, I have never really followed trades this high up. Considering we have 2 other first-round picks, I feel like we have some ammo for that. Thanks. I do think it's a possibility, and I believe Trotz was asked about potentially trading the pick or staying put at 5. Dr. Crane, if you could find that. I definitely think there's a possibility. I think it's more of a possibility of just using the draft picks as currency to add to the roster. I definitely think they want to make a selection, but if the guy they want in there at 5 and they can't move up, I think he'll try. Then yeah, I could possibly see it.
Do you think he'd like to trade Stamkos?
No, I don't. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think I think Stamkos, if you watch the year, and I know it's hard to do this because it was a bad year, but if you watch kind of later in the season, it looked like Stamkos finally got settled in and was playing much better. I think Marchessault was the concern. And again, he kind of got settled in too. It's just Marchessault is a high profile, talented player that you got to coach differently than you would coach Luke Evangelista. And I think that was the thing that Andrew Brunette had to learn is, he's used to coaching players that, are like him or like guys that he played with. And, sometimes when you have more of a personality that's going to be a little more outspoken, it's harder to coach those guys. But that comes with experience. That's where Barry Trotz can help him because he's done that.
Do you think at any time, if it goes south this next year, Barry comes down
to the bench?
Yeah.
No,
I wouldn't.
I don't think so. I think that falls under that's too easy of an answer to do. Mm-hmm. And the thing about Barry is he wants to prove that he can be a good manager as well.
Good.
He's at that point.
And stay where you are.
Real quick, 5724 about the coach. Yes, he made the playoffs 2 years ago, and then he was given a better team and finished with the worst record the Preds have ever had. That was a sign the time to change.
Ouch.
It's fair.
Ouch.
But
oh man, there's not been one positive. Thank you for keeping Brunette around. Oh man.
3155. Thanks, Big Joe. A lot of word salad BS. No real accountability with no real change to make it different. Just going to run it back. One of the worst seasons. Seems like a best idea. That's Jesse.
Good job, Jesse.
So we'll see what Hal Gill thinks about it. He did the draft show with Willie and I last night. We'll talk to Skillsy coming up next. It's Chasing Big Joe here on this Tuesday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune in to 94.9 The Fan tonight as the Sounds are back at First Horizon Park, taking on Norfolk. Pregame at 6:20, first pitch 6:35. Sounds baseball presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure on 94.9 The Fan. We say hello now to Hal Gill. Skillsy is on the line with us to talk about all things Predators. Hal, what's up?
Not much. Just recovering from the little bit of whiplash that we got last night. But hey, it's all right. It's okay.
The sun
It's
came
going
up.
to be a good pick, you know?
Exactly. You got a top 5 pick. The sun came up today. Everything is going to be just fine. So I want to start with the Andrew Brunette part of this. Is Barry Trotz, made it official yesterday. Andrew Brunette's going to be back as the head coach. And, I think one of the thing that I hear the most from the fans is, well, he had all year to make changes and he didn't do that. And I have said that that is not entirely true because, you were with this team all year. He made adjustments. So what adjustments can he continue to make to this system that everybody talks about that maybe he can make bigger adjustments in the offseason and training camp that he couldn't do in the regular season?
Well, I think it's tough. I think he has a system that, and we've seen it work. When it works, the Preds were really hard to play against. There's a lot of pressure on the puck, and they come as a 5-man unit. There's defense, there's centers, there's forwards, but really when they're playing it well, it's there's a lot of rotation, there's a lot of movement because they are on top of pucks and they stay on top of pucks. And so I think by not making changes, you're allowing everyone to get into to get into the system. And I think there was a lot of talk about, things weren't working as well as they wanted. And it was just a matter of time before it would click, right? You look at an 0-5 start that really wasn't an 0-5 start. I thought that was a lot of things they did well. They hit a couple posts, they missed some nets, the scoring wasn't there, and they lost those games. But I think they were onto something. They looked like they were going to be a good team and going to play a hard game. They just weren't clicking. So I think you kind of ride it out, and you got to have some belief and some faith in your system. And it just didn't come around. And so now a year into it, you didn't make those changes. You bought into it. Well, you have a new year and a fresh start to kind of do everything and say, okay, it didn't work. So something has to change. And what is it going to be? And I think that's, ultimately what they have to address in the off season and starts in training camp. I didn't think the Preds had a great training camp, and a lot of unforeseen things. They missed a preseason game due to the weather and the storms, and all those little things kind of crept in. And so I think they have to address all of that and then move forward.
How much of having this season under their belts and, now being a Nashville Predator for over a year is going to help guys like Stamkos, Marchessault, and Shea?
I think it's going to help a lot. When you get traded, and every guy's different. When you get traded or you sign with a different team, there's, you come in, you try to fit in, you try to, figure out where you are. And I think the adversity that they went through last year is going to help them in the long run. And I hope it does, because when you go through those hard times, you kind of call each other out and you have those little fights in the locker room, and, you learn from those. And I think it's funny that every time someone talks about a team and they say, oh, this guy came out to the media about a fight he had or a disagreement he had, the whole Marchessault thing was, he said something and it got out and it got legs, but that stuff happens all the time on winning teams, like inside that locker room. It's a sacred space, and I don't think it should be let out. But it happens all the time. I've been on winning teams, losing teams. There's disagreements, there's fights. That is going to happen. And so I think, you go through all that, and then the next year you come back and you've been through those down times together, and you kind of learn about your teammates, you learn about your dynamic in the locker room. And now you come back, and I think there's going to be, well, I know there's going to be guys like O'Reilly, Stamkos, Forsberg, Jay, Marcia. So those guys have won before. They know how to win. They know how to battle and compete. And I think there's going to be a little bit more openness when they get into the locker room next season. And they're going to demand more from each other. And I think that's what they need. And I think that's what we're going to see. There's going to be tweaks, of course, with everything, but I think that standard is going to be a very different standard for what they expect out of this season.
Talking to Hal Gill on the Chase and Big Joe show. Hal, what's one thing you would do different? One thing you would do different if when training camp starts this fall?
I think they need to get on the same page and quicker. I think they had some hard practices. And I think there was some guys that are going, okay, I'm just picking up the system. I'm going to take my time and figure it out. And I think that kind of, 3 new guys that are veterans that are coming in with a rookie coming in, you're going, oh boy, I got to get this system. I got to figure it out. I got to go now. And I think there was a lot of veterans that were looking around going, okay, don't worry about it, guys. We're going to get through this. And I think this training camp needs to be, boys, we got embarrassed last year and we got to go. We're going to have some young guys in the lineup that are going to need to learn quick, but we're the veterans and we need to drive the bus. And I think that urgency in camp is going to be, it's going to be defining of what their season is going to be like, because I know there's a lot of pride. Roman Josi is going to get back in the lineup and say, it's unacceptable what happened last year. And he's going to call his teammates out if they're not on board. And I think guys are going to be on board a lot quicker. And I think you're going to see a team that's a lot hungrier as soon as game 1 comes around.
Would you be okay? NFL teams used to do this all the time. They'd go away to camp for 2 weeks and be gone from everyone. Would you be okay if the Preds for 1 week just went somewhere, just them, and it wasn't about hockey, it was just about being together? Yeah.
Yeah, and it used to happen a lot more. I remember asking Laviolette about that, and he disagreed. And I was on a team with Philadelphia on his team that we went away and went to kind of a boot camp when I was in Philly, and I'm crawling through a tunnel going, like with guys shooting paintballs at me, and I'm going, what are we doing? This isn't hockey. This is ridiculous. But then, you're in a tunnel with a teammate and you're laughing at him and he's laughing at you, and you create that bond. And it's a simple thing. And then you go have dinner and you have a couple laughs and you make fun of the coach for making you do all that stupid stuff. And then you turn around and you're bonded and you're on the same page. And you said it, like not necessarily hockey, but it's just a human bonding, and I think you need that. And then I talked to Laviolette, and he said, yeah, all that stuff, just stay in your bed, rest up, be ready to go. And I think there's something to be said for getting away. If I was coaching or a GM, I would 100% get my team to go somewhere to do something, and I think that's something that certainly when you're looking at what do we want to do for training camp, you put that in the mix, because I think that means a lot, even if it's 2 or 3 days, a golf trip or, just to get things going and get on the same page. And they didn't have that last year. They had a lot of new guys coming in, and they had 9 out of 10 games at home. And, you really didn't get away to be with the boys and get that bonding kicked off.
Hal, I don't think, and you know this really well, so I want to ask you this. I don't think we understand how tremendously difficult being a general manager is in the NHL. I mean, that's to me, I could not fathom doing that job.
I hate to say this, but I have a lot of teammates that they were good-looking guys when they became a GM, and then the hair goes away or it goes gray, and they look like. Just think about as a coach, you have, your 20 to 25 guys that you have to worry about, and you focus on that, and you go home and you beat yourself up every night. Well, as a GM, there's no off days, like Trotsy's on the phone, and okay, yeah, it's the off season. Well, he's got to meet with these guys. He's got to do all this stuff. Like, he's constantly getting after it, and I think it's exhausting. I don't think I'm a GM material because I think you just can't turn off, and that's hard for a lot of people to do, and that's why some of the successful GMs are the ones that just keep going. You look at Lou Lamoriello, and we were talking about him. He's retired and he's out, or we think he's retired. But then we said, well, what is he going to do now? Like, he's been doing this for a long time. He's been a GM forever. And now what does he do? I don't think he necessarily has a life. His life was being a GM. And, talk to David Poyle. He's getting a chance to relax a little bit, and he wants to sit back and take it all in. But when hockey is your life and being a GM is your life, it's hard to go back to anything else.
Hal Gill is with us, Predators analyst. So with the 5th overall pick now, and they also have 2 other first rounders, Barry Trotz, has some options potentially. Obviously you got to find a dance partner, but they could stick and pick at 5. Maybe he could attempt to move up. Maybe he moves back. Do you like, I know we all wanted the number 1 pick or a top 3, but overall, do you like the position they're in with a top 5?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last night. I don't think there's a lot of times where you have the 1 or 2 pick is going to be like this generational player. I don't think these guys are that. I think they're really good hockey players, but I don't think there's a huge drop off. So I'm not necessarily upset. Obviously you want to get the best player you can get, and so getting at the bottom is just kind of it just caps off the season. It's just like, oh, you can't go further than 5. So yeah, I guess we got 5. So that's frustrating, but I think there's so many ways that Barry Trotz can play this. And I really think the offer sheet stands out to me is because free agency isn't a great year. It's going to be tough, and you're going to have to overpay to get the player that you're going to want. And so I think offer sheets are going to be thrown out and using those draft picks to get a good player. I think there's going to be movement in the draft to try to maybe trade for someone that you like and use because I think the Preds and I think there's a lot of people that disagree with me. I just don't think this is a team that can tank. I don't think you're going to do a rebuild with Roman Josi and Philip Forsberg and UC Saros and Stamkos, O'Reilly, Marchessault, Shea. You just go up and down this lineup, and there's so many good players. And if you can complement and give them a little help with some of the younger guys coming up, I think it's going to hit in 1 or 2 years. And I believe that. And so I think, taking another step back is going to be tough to do. I think you want to keep going. And I think there's a lot of weapons that Barry Trotz still has, and I think he's going to use them. I hope he uses them because, it's not far off in my opinion.
Right now, Mitch Marner's probably the number 1 UFA that would be out there. Is he somebody that you would pursue if you're Barry Trotz, or do you think they may look elsewhere? And I mean, ultimately, he could be back in Toronto.
Yeah. Like you look at him, Bennett. These guys.
Tavares.
You're going to have to overpay to get them. I think we're talking about Marner. Like how much do you think he's going to get? Like you're looking at Rantanen that got out $12 million. I don't know how you build a team and build a culture with a $12 million guy. And unless they're McDavid, Crosby, like these McKinnon, Makar, like these guys are, I don't see that guy out there. And I do love Marner. I think he's awesome, but I just don't know if I'm ready to overpay for that right now. And so I think that's why I say the offer sheet is better. You can get a guy that's maybe a $5 or $6 million guy that's younger, and you can kind of use that to build your core and be that gap between the veterans and the young guys. And I think that's where I would probably go. But, I'm not the GM. I'm not as smart as a GM. So we'll see. Trotzy's a lot smarter than I am.
Well, we'll have a lot of time to break it all down and talk about it. Hal, appreciate it as always. Good to see you yesterday and last night. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun doing the show with you. But enjoy the off season. It's officially here.
Yeah, we had a nice Cinco de Mayo, and I know you had a long day, and you battled through it, and so I appreciate you, pal.
Well,
And you guys, hey, enjoy the summer. There's a lot going on, but there's a lot of good things that are going to happen, and I need you, the Smashville fan base, to believe me. There's a lot of good things going on, and it's going to come around. It's a tough year. We took a step back, but we're going to come back stronger than ever.
amen to that. Thanks, Gilsey.
All right, you got it, pal.
All
Cheers.
right. Hal Gill joining us here on the program, and we did have a nice Cinco de Mayo. That is for sure.
Buddies.
He's a good man. We'll react to some of the things that he had to say, including some of you have asked on the text line. Are there some free agent targets? We can kind of look at that coming up next at 10 o'clock. Though, what do we got?
A fun segment we're going to do this summer. God bless you, Bubba, on that.
Thank you
over
for
there.
that save.
It's called What If? What if this would have happened? And we got a great what if at 10 o'clock, and we'll get all your responses. Chase and Dr. Crane don't know what it is. I'm tasked with coming up with the what if, but it'll be fun, but we need your reaction.
We'll do that at 10. It's Chase and Big Joe on a Tuesday, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. What, Joe? Hit it, Dr. Crane. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 the game on this Tuesday. That song just makes you feel better. I don't know what it is.
It's off one of the best albums of all time, man, that nobody talks about.
Because everybody talks about this song.
Yep. The album's called Play Deep, and it's just
The
it's
outfield.
amazing. Yeah, it's great.
I have a tease for your what if, Jew. What if both of you had a mullet? I would love to see that.
I
You
did it
used to
one
have
time.
one, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. My hair used to grow really long and curly, so I'd grow it up, and I'd actually, true story, would pin it on top of my bald spot. We did that when I was at Channel 2. Awful. It's absolutely awful. Then I saw a picture from behind one day. I was doing a story on the lake. Somebody got a picture of me, and I had this giant bald spot. And I said, I'm done. Shave my head off. Just shave it off. Don't
Good
do
for
the
you.
comb over. Shave it off, man. Be powerful in who you are.
You didn't go for the friar tuck. I'm proud of you.
No,
That's good.
Nope.
It's a good thing you did that.
Thank you very much.
I had something else I was going to say. So a couple of free agents that I mean, I'm with Hal. Like, I like Mitch Marner as a player, but I wouldn't. They don't need to go after the guys that they got to pay, 10+ million to.
No, gosh, no.
That's just not where this team is right now. I mean, John Tavares is one that maybe you get because he's coming back down. He's 34, so his cap hit. It was on a 7-year deal, making 11 million per year. That's still too rich for me, but if you get him less, there's a guy that could help you at center. But again, you kind of have that, Ryan O'Reilly. So,
Okay.
I don't love that. You're not going to talk to Duchesne. You're probably not going to talk to Granlund. They're going to be available. Nick Ehlers is, out there, but I mean, I think you got a lot of guys like that. So there's not a ton that you can really, not saying they're not going to, but there's not a ton that I love that are going to fit what they're trying to do here. I think ultimately the direction is building the young guys.
Yes. Didn't this go wrong last year? Did we not learn anything?
Yeah. I mean, that's what they need to do.
Yeah. I mean, you draft these guys, you put them in Milwaukee, give them a chance. Give them a chance. I mean, look at the guys that came, like Pecorine. I mean, you brought them up from Milwaukee. Bring these guys up. You
8th
got
round
them there.
pick.
Yeah. Bring them up, man.
It was funny. Last night we're on the show and Hal looks at me and he goes, because everybody's freaking out about picking 5th. He goes, "Who's the best player in franchise history?" And I kind of like stopped and like I wasn't ready for the question. I go, "Oh wait, Pecorine. Yeah, he has and Willie's like, he has a statue. Pecorine." He goes, "When was he drafted?" A round that doesn't exist anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
The 8th round.
Man, that's a great. We always talk about the Titans and that, the greatest player, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's a great question.
I mean, something the Titans and Preds have in common. Now, different, levels here, but Pecorine is the greatest player the Preds have ever had. Drafted in the 8th round, doesn't exist anymore. Blaine Bishop is one of the best Titans Oilers of all time. Drafted in the 8th round, a round that doesn't exist anymore.
right. Yeah. I'm with you on that, man. Who is, real quick, the best Preds player drafted who succeeded elsewhere?
Best Preds player drafted that succeeded elsewhere, Kevin Fiala,
I don't know.
maybe.
If you
He
say
was a
so.
first round pick. I mean, he's done well. I mean,
Suter.
not
You hate Suter, though.
I don't hate Suter. No, I mean, I get it. I just don't like how he handled it. That's a really good question, Joe. I mean, right now I'd probably say Fiala because he was a first round pick but he didn't blow it away. I mean, like he's not like a elite game changing player. He's a good player.
So that would be, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, Suter didn't have Suter's still playing. He just got got knocked out of the playoffs, but he was with St. Louis. So we'll see if he comes back for another year.
okay. There
But
we go. Look at
it's an
that.
interesting one. Coming up next, what if?
What if?
And you will set this up
Gotcha.
when we return. You can sign up now for the 615 Open Charity Golf Tournament benefiting Folds of Honor, presented by Gary Force Acura at the Hermitage Golf Course on Thursday, May 29th. Sign up to play or sponsor at 615open.com. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game here on this Tuesday. Hope you're having a great start to your day. He's Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier behind the glass. Ian Safar hanging out as well. By the way, you kind of hit on something.
Yeah.
Preds players to be drafted and do better elsewhere. Jeff says Scott Hartnell. We got some texts. Alex Radeloff, Seth Jones, Kevin Fiala, Ellie Tolvanen most recently. Not a little. But yeah, Radeloff, but he went to Russia.
He did.
So that's one, but an interesting topic nonetheless. But it is time for the return as we enter the late spring and some early summer months, the what if game.
Yeah, this is always fun to do this, and it always depends on y'all's interaction. I'll just put it out on Twitter right now, but it's very simple today. And we go back through what ifs that happened that kind of send a team or franchise or a person in a different direction. So our question today, we want to hear from you. What if the Titans would have beaten the Bengals in the 21 playoffs?
Oh, man.
What if they would have beaten in January of 22, the Titans had beaten the Bengals, and now let the Bengals come in here and beat them in that game? Chase McCabe, you're on the clock.
So basically you're saying, what if Ryan Tannehill hadn't thrown 3 interceptions?
What if? They still had a chance to win the game. What if? Think about the tentacles of this.
You want to know? All right. You want to know my real answer?
Yeah.
I think there's a Lombardi trophy sitting on Great Circle Road. That's what I think. Because I think they were definitely the best. I mean, they could have beaten the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would have been a tough game just like the Bengals, but I think they were a good enough team with Vrabel as the head coach. You had A.J. Brown, who was peak A.J. Brown. Tannehill had taken over that offense, was looking really, really good.
No Derrick Henry.
But he came back. He did play some, but they probably would have had him for the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah.
Because he had come back for that game. Now, some coaching malpractice was trying to force feed him the ball too much when they should have gone to who was the guy?
Chestnut?
No.
Dante Foreman.
Foreman. Thank you. Foreman was having a great game and a great season. Yeah, I think they could have won it all.
So think about that after that. Vrabel's still here. That A.J. Brown.
Because it was the Rams, right? The Rams in the NFC.
And they beat them.
I think they beat the Rams.
They'd already beat them in the regular season
Yeah.
on Sunday Night Football.
Oh, could you imagine?
So
The
it all
rematch.
springs out different ways. A.J. Brown's still here. John Robinson's still here. I mean, you're right. I think they were on a mission.
That's a huge what if.
Because they had 90-something players they plugged in that year and won, and then everything. Then you're heading to that stadium. Tannehill's probably still here. Henry is probably still here. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. If you had just won that football game.
Well, because next year the number 1 seed?
No, they were number 1 at 21.
That was it. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that was it. Yeah.
In 22, it all went to hell.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs shows up.
That's right. Robinson gets fired. Oh, yeah. I mean, Vrabel and Robinson are still here. No doubt.
Because then you're picking 32nd in the draft. You're
Yeah.
not picking 16 or 18 or whatever it was for Burks.
Yeah.
So now you just plug in some good players, a good foundational piece. It doesn't have to 32nd pick, first round pick going 32 does not have to start if you won the Super Bowl. That guy gets a little bit of a leeway to come and do that. So you can plug
Well,
somebody
there's a
else
lot
in.
of leeway because, Amy's not going to be as quick to react on things
Yep.
because she's got something her dad never had, the Lombardi trophy in my scenario.
Mhm.
And Robinson's still here because he never trades A.J. Brown, probably.
Right.
Vrabel's still here. I mean, and look, there would have been changes. I mean, you say Henry would still be here. We don't know that. He might have left and gone, because trying to think when it was after 18 or 19 when he got the contract, right?
16, 17, 18, 19 or 20. Yeah.
19 or 20. I think it was
Yeah.
20. He got the contract. So, I mean, that contract runs out, who knows if they want to pay it at that point.
But you're on a Super Bowl winning
they still have to
team.
pay A.J. Brown.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think you would if you won the Super Bowl. I mean, I think that goes on and you pay A.J. Brown. And now, look what it now. I mean, now A.J. Brown's contract is probably in the bottom of the 10 there, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know all the numbers, but what he asked for, and we're not going to do that. But look, you go to that 22 draft and you're picking last, and then you're going to run it back in 22 with pretty much the same team. I know things happen and guys get injured and guys sign elsewhere, but I mean, you finally got it. I mean, that was as good. Now look where this team is. You go from the number 1 seed in 21, 3 years later, you're picking first in the draft. I mean, it'll drive you crazy, man. There's so many what ifs in this city, but to me, that's the one is like, it was so close, so fresh on our mind. What would have happened going forward with all this? And God, I'd still be here.
I think they win it all. I really do. I think that team was poised. They get out of that round. Let's see, that was the divisional round, so they would have taken on Kansas City the next week.
Here.
Yep. I think they beat Kansas City. I think they go to the Super Bowl. And let's just say the NFC works out the way that it did, and they beat the Rams. I think they beat the Rams.
Yep. Yeah.
They win the Super Bowl. I really, really think that.
It makes you sick to your stomach, too,
It
man.
kills me.
Because you're so close to doing that.
615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The what if game, we're going to do this periodically throughout the summer. What if the Titans had beaten the Bengals in January of 22, the 21 playoffs? What do you think would have happened? What does that mean for the two-tone blue right now? Cam Ward is not here.
No.
If that has happened.
Not at all.
615-737-1025. We'll get to your answers. Coming up next, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Steps forward, popped up in the air, intercepted. Logan Wilson's got it for Cincinnati with 20 seconds to play.
That brings back bad memories. Chasing Big Joe here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel and broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. The What If Game. And you can sponsor the What If Game by emailing together at cromwellmedia.com.
Brought to you by Possibly You.
That is right. Today's What If the Tennessee Titans had defeated the Cincinnati Bengals in the 2021 playoffs played in January of 2022? What if Ryan Tannehill hadn't thrown 3 interceptions? I say they win the whole bleeping thing.
I'm with you, man. I am with you. But what say you, our loving public?
Let's go to the text line. In Chip from Mount Juliet said, didn't Amy renew their contracts that year? She did actually give them an extension. I don't think she fires them.
Right. Oh, exactly.
After that. Let's see. Ben says, knowing that they lost to the Bengals, I would basically have to say that they would have lost one of the last 2 games regardless. They obviously had enough issues to lose big games over those 3 to 4 years.
Benny, it's the what if game.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, they lost to the Bengals.
But what's funny is everybody's so like jaded by this that it's like hard to think positively. Craig says, not only do I think we have a Super Bowl, but also the way we look at Burrow for never making it to an AFC championship game and the way we look at Mahomes for making it to 1 fewer Super Bowls are different as well.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the tentacles of this are unbelievable.
You think Wes in Clarksville, do you think Tannehill would still be here?
Yes.
I think he probably would be. I think his heir apparent would be behind him. And I don't think Will Levis is his name.
No.
But
you would have time to groom somebody.
Yeah. A lot of you want to weigh in on the phones. Let's start with Whit on the What If game. Whit, what do you got?
Can you hear me?
We got you.
Hey, this is not a what if, but this is that game. You guys said it the first time I've ever heard anybody on this station or anyone say it. Yeah, Tannehill threw that 3rd interception, but dude, Derek was coming back off an injury, and Dante Foreman was hotter than hell. And I heard Steely on your show saying, "Oh no, you let the big dog eat. You let the big dog." The big dog didn't eat. He wasn't 100%. Dante Foreman had 2 runs in that game and had like a total of 50 yards. You should have stuck with fucking Dante. Pardon my French.
Holy cow!
Right.
There
Thank
you. Come on, I get it.
I knew that was coming. I just felt it.
And that's not French. No French I've ever heard.
I knew it. I was like, oh, he's rolling. It's coming. It's coming.
When I answered the phone, he was getting a McDonald's order. I heard the lady sit in the back say, "Have a nice day." He said, "Thank you." And then that happens.
Here's what I'm going to say, Whit. I love the passion. You can't say the F word on terrestrial radio, but I love the passion. I knew I was ready for it, and so was Dr. Crane. Dylan wants to weigh in. Dylan, please don't cuss.
Hey, yeah, no cussing. But I think the bigger what if question is actually, what if Derrick Henry hadn't been injured that season? Because he was on pace to shatter the all-time single season rushing record.
Eric Dickerson, yeah.
He then would have been the first ever running back to not only have 2 2,000-yard seasons, but then they would have been back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons. I think in that game, that would have helped Tannehill feel like he didn't have to throw the ball over the yard because he had, reliable Derrick Henry behind him, taking that weight off of his shoulders, which I think would have contributed to less interceptions. And then every game after that, like who the Bengals played to get to the Super Bowl, every team they faced, the Titans had already beat that year,
right,
including the Rams in the Super Bowl. So I think the bigger question is, what if Henry hadn't been injured? One, that I think that would have just cemented his Hall of Fame legacy. But I think for that game in particular, having an actual healthy Henry would have helped Tannehill a ton. And yeah, I think the city would have had a Super Bowl if Henry wouldn't have gotten injured that year.
That is a great point, Dylan. Thanks for the phone call.
Yeah.
Because I mean the gold jackets on the sideline. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no argument at that point.
But remember, they still got the number 1 seed without Derrick Henry.
Yeah, which is, I mean,
so I don't think Derrick Henry that day would have made, but had he been, okay, yeah, I know it might have made a difference, but he was injured and they were still number 1. And Foreman, like you guys are talking about, played a hell of a game that day.
Whit texted in and said, too passionate, apologies, but dang, still he probably had a Derrick Henry poster over his bed that he blew kisses to at night. Look, we all did. I mean, we all did, but I think, to Whit's point, to Dylan's point, I mean, again, what if Henry doesn't get hurt? But I mean, I agree. In that game, I was fine with Derrick Henry being activated, but you ride the hot hand. A good coach rides the hot hand.
He did score a touchdown, right?
He did, but I think it was on the goal line. Mike Vrabel should have used Foreman more because Foreman was the hot hand. Derrick was clearly rusty.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Still had like 60-something yards.
I agree with you.
But let's continue the calls here. 615-737-1025. Adam in Portland. What if?
What if Forsberg's skate isn't called offsides there, dude? Like, I think about that probably once a month. I'm like, it was a terrible call. We win game 1, then we're not chasing our tails in that series, and we probably win a Stanley Cup. Like, that was such a terrible call. What if they didn't make that call?
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Thanks, Adam. We want you to answer the thrown out there, but that's okay.
All right.
Yeah, Peter Laviolette was incensed by that, and so was David Poyle.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Eric has a comment for the what if game. Eric, what's up?
Hey guys, I don't know, can't remember if we beat the Chiefs in the regular season or not during that year. Maybe we beat Patrick Mahomes, get the Super Bowl, but I do remember. If you remember that Sunday night early in the season, we went to the Rams. Everybody thought he had no shot. I didn't either, but the Rams, of course, turned the ball over a lot, and that's how we beat them. They had Jalen Ramsey and of course Aaron Donald and of course Matthew Stafford. If we get to the Super Bowl, I'm sure the Rams remember that. They come up with a different game plan. I don't know if we beat them twice in the season. That's the thing you got to remember too. We've beaten the Rams due to the fact that we dominated them with all those injuries and got all those turnovers. I don't know if we'd be fortunate to do that again. So I would never say if it was a rematch against the Rams, it might have been a different outcome. That's my theory on that. So I don't know if we definitely win the Super Bowl.
Well,
that's
a few
just
things
something to think about.
First thing, I didn't know you were on the team. Secondly, they beat the Chiefs 27-3 at Nissan. 2 weeks later, they beat the Rams out there without Derrick Henry. So I think that team, Eric, if they beat the Bengals, they had this little chip on their shoulder that nobody believed in them, that Vrabel instilled in them. They would have gone on and won the Super Bowl. Not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I would love to say that, but I'm only just looking at it's just when you beat a team once in the season, a lot of times the opposite thing happens. So I'm not going to say I know that for sure that would happen. My feeling is I think they would have lost to one of those two teams when you're talking about Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and then Sean McVay and the Rams. I would love to say I'm wrong, but of course we'll never know. But
that's right,
guys,
buddy.
good talk to you. Y'all take care and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. 615-737-1025 playing the what if game. What if the Titans beat the Bengals in the 21 playoffs?
You know, it's funny. I'm looking at the announcers for the 21 season when the team started out. It's funny how they just dumped the worst announcers, like Tom McCarthy and Aaron Taylor for week 1 versus the Cardinals. I've never heard of Tom McCarthy. Then you get Andrew Catalon and James Lofton. There we know. And then Catalon and Lofton again. And then it builds up. Then you get Gumbel. Greg Gumbel, may rest in peace. And then on and on and on like that. But it's funny how it all starts out. Things get going on.
It is funny. Now people are kind of giving their own what ifs.
Love
it. Fun. 1997. What if Albert Hainsworth gets the mental help he needed and never stomped that player's head? Andre Gerard. Could have been a different career. Love the show.
Well,
I mean, in some ways that kind of changed his career.
Yes.
Because that was kind of the wake-up call. So I don't want to see a guy get his head stomped.
Right.
But that was a game-changing moment for Albert Hainsworth.
I'll never forget Fisher pulling him off to the side and yelling at him and just going crazy. And here's gigantic, Hainsworth looking down at Fisher and he's going to punch Fisher. He's going to punch him. He's that mad. That was 2006 season. Were you at that game?
I was at that game with my dad because it was the Cowboys.
Yep.
Because the significance of that was, I believe that was Vince's first start.
Might have been.
And then Romo took over for the Cowboys like 2 weeks later.
Oh.
It was Drew Bledsoe was the starter for the
It was
Cowboys.
a beautiful day, too.
It was a great day.
But Haynesworth turned into the most dominating force in 07 and 08. I mean, he couldn't stop. You couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
But that was a good one. Viking Matt. I knew this was coming up. What if Gary Anderson doesn't miss that field goal against the Falcons? I think the Vikings beat the Broncos, and it was his only miss of the season. 1998.
Yeah, that drives Vikings fans. Because then we post the picture what he did here, beating the Ravens in the playoffs. Like, if he could just done that versus the Falcons.
So that's one of those things that I was young, but I saw that team because that was the last game ever as the Oilers. And at Vanderbilt, it was on the day after Christmas. And I went with my mom, and it was that 98 Vikings team with Cunningham and Carter and Moss and
Robert Smith.
I mean, they were freaking loaded.
They're good.
Denny Green was the coach, and then Billick was the OC, right?
It was.
Who's the DC?
I don't know.
You remember?
Mm-mm.
But that team was awesome.
There was.
All right, we'll continue. 615-737-1025. What if you can throw your own in here, but what if the Titans beat the Bengals in the 21 playoffs? I say they have a Lombardi trophy. We'll continue next. It's Chasing Big Joe here on this Tuesday. Nashville's best deal of the week is celebrating National Barbecue Month. We love some barbecue. Get a $50 gift card to Central Barbecue in Capitol View for half off right now. That's $25 by my math. Try their new barbecue sampler, ribs, wings, and barbecue sliders. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals right now while supplies last. See what you did there, Dr. Crane. Well done. Making me so proud. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, the game.
Wait, who's this?
I don't even know, but it's What If.
Oh,
So
I'm so stupid.
That's
Good job,
okay.
Dr. Crane.
Thanks,
that's
man.
some grade A producing right there.
It is. He's no David James, but
Playing the What If game. Nobody is. We love David James.
right.
Playing the What If game, and some of you have sent your own in, which are good. I'm going to read these, but our question is: what if the Titans had beaten the Bengals in the 2021 playoffs, January of 2022? Skylar has a good one. If the Titans would have won that game against the Bengals, maybe the stars of the universe wouldn't have lined up to Chase leaving the midday show with D. Mace and Willie, and we would have never gotten Big Joe and Chase show. I would have hated that. I'm glad the Titans lost so we can listen to Big Joe's lovely voice every day. LOL.
That was not sent in by me, so thank you, Skylar. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that was good. Let's see. Justin and Greenbrier, Chase with the world's fastest dump button. That was Dr. Crane. That was all Dr. Crane. I didn't hear a thing on the stream. I think they do go on to win the Super Bowl that year. It was lining up to be the best possible scenario for the Titans, and all they had to do was play smart football, and you win that Bengals game. Yep.
Pretty simple. Yeah.
Yep.
But I think after that, you go to the draft in 22, and A.J. Brown's still here. Robinson's still here. Vrabel's still here because you got a Super Bowl stamped on your resume. And that's something nobody could ever take away from you. So after that, you see what happened, man. And so that was just a crucial game in the history of the Tennessee Titans.
It was.
I got a real quick question for you, Chase. What do Maurice Smith, Chester Rogers, Matt Orzechowski, Daniel Munyer, and Tucker McCann and Dayton Mack have in common?
No clue.
We're all part of the roster changes for the 2021 Titans.
I remember
team.
Daniel Munyer.
Yeah.
Was he an offensive lineman?
He was center. Oh,
Yeah.
we called him Money, remember?
No.
Oh, Danny.
You just naming off some TV characters.
Right. No, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now here's some of your what if questions. 8523. What if a frog had wings? He wouldn't bump his ass on the ground. Did you write that one?
I did not.
Wes in Clarksville. I think about this one a lot. What if Earnhardt was still alive? Think about that every time I watch racing. Yep. I think
Now, does that one not drive you crazy?
yeah. Because I mean it'd be different.
Oh yeah.
There'd be a lot of things different. Joy from Gallatin. What if the refs actually called pass interference during the Saints-Rams NFC Championship game? I believe Drew Brees would have another Super Bowl ring.
You're probably correct on that.
A classic one, 4405. What if the glove fit OJ? This one we should do as an actual like topic in this from Ron. What if there was never a Music City Miracle? Where would we be as a team today? That's a good one.
It's a whole 2-hour segment right there, Ronnie.
What if there were flags on the field?
Yep.
I mean, that would be.
What if that was a forward pass?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Devin and Dixon, what if Dale Jr. never says the S word in Victory Lane at Talladega in 2004? He probably wins a championship and never goes to Hendrick Motorsports. That's a really good one too.
What's
He
the
probably
S
would.
word?
I can't say it. It
Is it-
rhymes with hit.
How did that hurt him?
Because it was at the time it was a fine or in a points deduction because he said a bad word on TV.
Oh, okay. I did not.
It was
know
so
that.
I think that's when he won 4 in a row at Talladega. No. Yeah, it was. I think maybe it was. I don't remember. But they asked him what it does, and he says it don't mean bleep right now. Daddy won here 10 times, and there I forget the rest of it. But
Okay.
but yeah, that fine hurt him, and he was on point to potentially win because that was the first year of the playoffs, the chase for the cup. So he probably would have won it that year. So I do think he leaves DEI. I think that was always going to happen because the relationship with Teresa was not good. So I think that might have always happened. 70-11. What if the tuck rule isn't called?
Man,
What if Wilson hands the ball to Marshawn?
Go back to the Tuck rule.
Yeah.
Because they don't win the Super Bowl.
No.
It
that
doesn't happen.
changes a lot.
Oh my gosh.
That might change Brady's legacy
No doubt.
completely.
No doubt.
Not saying he doesn't have one. I'm just saying it changes it.
Yeah.
What if Wilson hands the ball to Marshawn Lynch? So right there could be 2 Super Bowls they don't have.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because they win the game. Seattle wins the game.
By far.
And then what if the Falcons don't sit on the ball? That could be 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Again, you'd rather be lucky than good any day of the week.
Yep. Wes in Clarksville, if the Titans won that game, I don't think Burrow is still a Bengal. That year, Burrow was handed a Super Bowl appearance on a silver platter. That's interesting.
I don't know about that.
He's
He's still damn good. I mean, it's
Adam in Portland. If the Music City Miracle doesn't happen, the Jacksonville Jaguars are Super Bowl champions that year, and those losers down in Duval have a completely different legacy. Nobody could beat the Jags except for us. Buffalo would have gotten smashed. The Jags put up 52 the week before.
yeah,
That's a really good point.
because they beat Marino and the Dolphins the week before. That was Marino's last football game ever.
Alex
Okay.
from Nashville. What if Drew Bennett didn't drop that pass against the Patriots?
That, you know what? That's another one. That's because they go and win that game. They were on a roll going down the field. They win that game in 15-degree temperature in Foxborough. These are all great, man. Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, these are fantastic. What if Will Greer never gets suspended at Florida? They would have won the championship that year. I don't remember that.
What year was that?
I do. I remember Will Greer.
The West Virginia transfer, right? Isn't he? I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Look at us all looking at each other like that's kind of random to put that up there. Yeah.
Steven, what if Justin Timberlake never caused Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction? That changed a lot of things from broadcast rules.
They did. On down
Um,
the line. Absolutely did.
Yeah. So very, very good. These are fun. We're gonna do the what if game.
Yep.
Every now and then.
We are.
So what if we do the what if game? Coming up next, we'll tell you what day it is, and of course, celebrity birthdays, everybody's favorite. That is all next. Jason Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We just had a late entry. Grant in Clarksville. What if Eli had stayed with the Chargers?
I didn't even think about that.
I mean, didn't they have Drew Brees, but he was hurt?
Correct. Yep. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And what if Eli would have stayed with the Crimson Tide?
Wait, what?
Eli Gold.
Oh, that Eli. I was like, wait, Eli Manning was never with the Crimson Tide. What are you talking about?
Weirdo, shut up.
You shut up. All right, with that, let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays. It is my line, isn't it? It is brought to you by Jarrett Companies, Inc., above and beyond industry standards. The only company you'll need for commercial construction services. Visit them at jarrettcompaniesinc.com.
All right, gentlemen. First on the list, we have Joseph Brackett Day.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Thanks, Joe.
That's what I do in my brackets for March Madness.
Gotcha.
You do them today?
Every day.
For next year?
Include music notes in that?
Every day.
Okay. Mom's Equal Pay Day is next. Childhood Depression Awareness Day.
Yeah.
International No Diet Day.
Isn't that us every day?
Yeah.
We're Nashville's good dose of a diet.
Yeah.
We are, pal. I like the attitude.
National Beverage Day. There you go. You can have
No
a nice
beverages.
whatever drink you want. National Concert Day. National Nurses Day.
Shout out to that. My
Yeah.
daughter's a nurse, but I'm telling you, man, nurses are angels on earth. And don't say just to be nice. You go to hospital at 2:00 in the morning, they're working nonstop to save lives, man. They're amazing.
You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
I could go on a tangent, but I'm not because you're right, Joe. They serve America well. Poem on Your Pillow Day is today. Don't know what that is, but No Homework Day, National Tourist Appreciation Day, National Teacher Day, and the last two we have here, one is National Crepe Suzette Day.
Crepe Suzette. She lives over in East Nashville.
What a nice lady.
$25 to read your tarot card.
Isn't that the Ricky used to date?
I think he did.
And last but not least, we have World Asthma Day.
Oh, okay.
Asthma's awful, right?
Shout out to those that have the inhalers, I guess. Right?
All the time. All right, time for celebrity birthdays. Got to get these within two. Our first birthday, and man, this is going to make you feel old. How old is Bob Seger?
Oh, wow. 78.
75.
80 years old. Bob goes down because he also discovered Glenn Fry.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Bergeron from America's Funniest Home Videos.
And Dancing with the Stars for a small time.
Yeah. 61.
I'm going to go 72.
70.
Nice.
Tied at 1. He also did Hollywood Squares from 98 to 04. George Clooney. How old is the Kentucky native or Cincinnati boy, whatever? He lives up there.
Wasn't his dad like a newsman?
He
too?
was in Cincinnati.
George Clooney, 67.
62.
64. Dr. Crane's up 2-1. All right.
That's a handsome man.
Dr. Crane is a handsome man.
I don't mind.
Thank
Well,
you,
George
guys.
Clooney too,
Appreciate
but I don't
that.
mind saying that.
Clooney's okay. Been going down the list here. My computer's slow today.
You just got a new computer.
Watch your mouth. All right, singer Jimmy Dale Gilmore.
What did he sing?
That one song about life and love.
78.
70.
80. You know, a name like that's got to be old.
Exactly.
2 to 2. It's got today's Lulu Roman's birthday. She just passed away. So happy birthday in heaven there, Lulu. I think that's right. If it's not, anyway, happy birthday.
So are we guessing?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Roma Downey, Touched by an Angel.
Oh, yeah.
She's married to the guy that created Survivor, Mark Burnett.
78.
72.
65. Bruce Springsteen's first wife, actress Julianne Phillips.
70.
67.
65. You guys are popping the outside today, 3 to 2. The lead guitar player of Hootie and the Blowfish, Mark Bryan. Fun fact, don't call Darius Rucker Hootie. He doesn't like it. But that's his fault, man.
61.
58.
58 exactly. Dr. Crane's up. 5-2.
So if Darius Rucker's not Hootie, then can I still call his background people like Blowfish or no?
Try it.
Let's see. Let us know. I'll call him up.
Rapper Meek Mill. Not to be confused with Mill Creek. Meek Mill.
36.
40.
Oh, it's a push. He's 38. Got some odd birthdays today. Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister of England.
67.
65.
72. And this will be argument, and I'm willing to die on this hill. The greatest Tennessee quarterback of all time, besides Condrich Holloway, is Andy Kelly. Today's Andy Kelly's birthday. How old is the tied for number one greatest Tennessee quarterback of all time? Former Nashville Cat quarterback.
60.
61.
57. One of the best goalies of all time, Martin Brodeur.
49.
52.
53. Dr. Crane's up 6-2. Chris Paul.
39.
40.
40 exactly. Dr. Crane's got 8. It's 8-2. Dr. Crane, we got one left. You could hit double figures for the first time ever. You've
What?
never hit double
said
figures.
Yes, I have.
Huh?
Just because I'm short doesn't mean I can't hit double figures. Come on.
You've hit 9. I got a list right here.
I've hit multiple.
Hey, I've seen him get double figures.
Hey, I don't want to
if
hear
you
your
know what I'm
personal
saying.
life. All right. How old is Jose Altuve?
I'm taller than him.
Great. Jose
You're 5'2"?
Altuve. 34.
36.
35. It's a push.
Not a
Dr.
bad
Crane
day.
wins 8-2. There's some
Congratulations, Doctor.
different
Thank you.
birthdays. Not really the oomph we got there. So
Good job, Dr. Crane. That's
Yep.
good. That is going to do it for this fine radio program today.
yeah, give me just a few seconds here. This past weekend, I lost a dear friend. He lost a fight with a demon, and the demon took him down, and it was alcohol. And we talk about struggling all the day and things that you go through, and know that there's help out there. And sometimes I understand the demon wins, but we're here. You need to reach out and talk to somebody if you can, right? And it's a tough thing that's going through. The family's hurting, and it's a tough thing. That's why our message at the end of the show every time is something personal to all of us, not something we just throw out there and say. We tell you all the time that we're here to talk to you. If something's going on, please reach out on your cell phone. We tell you all the time. You call or text 988. Somebody's always there to talk to you. We're always here to talk to you. We are here for you. We're doing this together. And we talk about our journeys, how journeys are different, and stop comparing your journey to somebody else's journey, because your journey is unique. You are unique. You are beautiful. You are powerful in what you do. And I understand we go through some tough times. We all do. I've been there. So reach out and talk to us. Know that we love you. We say every day that God loves you. I want you to really know that you are special and you are unique. And if something happened to you, it hurts. It hurts a lot of us that are left behind. We don't want you to go anywhere. We want you here with us. Our world's a better place when you're here. So know that. If you want to reach out to us, it's all anonymous. We'll talk to you all the time. We'll help you out with whatever you got going on, because we love you. We want you guys to know that. So thank you.
Very well said, my friend. Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. DVD is coming up next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.